Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان فآمنا ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك أنت الوهاب. Now, moderator is here, the fourth topic. Please take up Farah or Asim, Fariha or Asim. Are you available?
Sure, I can read inshallah.
Okay.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The fourth topic of the 11th ray, if you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
Again, there is an explanation of this in a guide for youth. One time, I was asked the following question by the brothers who assist me. So even the brothers who are in the service of the Quran, they are asking a question to the author. For 50 days now, and now 7 years have passed. You have asked nothing at all about this ghastly world war, which has plunged the whole world into chaos and is closely connected with the fate of the Islamic world. Nor have you been curious about this war, whereas some religious and learned persons are leaving the congregation in the mosques and are racing to listen to the radio or internet, news, TV, whatever, the media. Is there some event more momentous than the war? Is there some event more momentous than the war? Or is it harmful in some way to be preoccupied with it, with this events that are going on, maybe political, social wars, which is a major kind of event? I replied to them, life's capital is very little. Life's capital is very little, and the work to be done is much. Little time, little resources in the human lifespan, in the way the human beings' time period is there, and there's a lot to be done, according to the author. There are spheres, one within the other, like concentric circles. Spheres, one within the other, like concentric circles, from the sphere of man's heart and stomach, and that of his home and body, and that of the quarter in which he lives, and his town, and his country and land, and the globe and mankind, to the spheres of animate beings and the world. So man is connected to so many things in his personal life, in his social life, has to take care of his livelihood, to take care of his relationships, his feelings, his home, his body, his city, his town, pays taxes and benefits from the roads and the laws and all those things, country and land, globe and mankind, to the spheres of animate beings and the world. Yeah, climate change, things that are happening other places, we are all impacted. Temperature, sunlight, snow, rain, all that. Also, we are connected to it. Each person may have duties in each of those spheres. Each person may have duties in each of those circles, spheres, connections. But the most important and permanent of these are those in the smallest sphere. The most important and permanent of these are those in the smallest sphere, while his least important and temporary duties may be in the largest sphere. The most important is the smallest sphere, and as you go further as in the concentric circles in the spheres of your responsibility, how it impacts you, the largest is the least important. According to this analogy, the largest and smallest are in inverse proportion. The largest and smallest are in inverse proportion. Yeah, so the smallest takes the most importance and the largest takes the least importance. But because of the attractiveness of the largest sphere, yeah, it takes very interesting. Because of the attractiveness of the largest sphere, it's huge. So one would say pay more attention to that. It causes the person to neglect his important, necessary duties in the small sphere, busying himself with unnecessary, trivial, peripheral matters. Necessary duties in the small sphere, busying himself with, so he neglects his important necessary duties in the small sphere, busying himself with the unnecessary, trivial, peripheral matters. So this busying himself destroys the capital of his life for nothing. It kills his precious life on worthless things. Sometimes Brother Ali, if you can scroll down a little bit. Sometimes where am I? Where was I? Okay, I think a little up. I forgot where the sometimes yeah. Yeah, sometimes the one following curiously the struggles of the war. Sometimes the one following curiously the struggles of the war comes to earnestly support one side. Sometimes the one following curiously the struggles of the war comes to earnestly support one side. Yeah, because there are few sides on the war. He looks favorably on their tyranny and becomes a partner in it. Yep, so he takes the one side, of course. There's like two sides of the conflicting. Two countries may be at war, so we may take the side of one country versus the other. Some may take the other country. That's how human beings are. That's what they would do. But it's interesting how the author talks about the life's capital is very little. Yeah, which is true. We know that this place is not a permanent place. Our time must be very valuable in terms of how we spend it, on what we spend it for. And it's interesting how he puts it in terms of work to be done is a lot. So this small sphere that he's focusing on, I think he may get into it. So I will continue reading to the first answer to the first point. Yes, an event more momentous than this world war and a case more important than that of world supremacy has been opened over the heads of everyone and especially Muslims. An event more momentous than this world war and a case more important than that of world supremacy has been opened over the heads of everyone and especially Muslims, so that if everyone had the wealth and power of the Germans and English, or Americans, or Russians, or Chinese, and sense as well, they would unhesitatingly spend all of it to win that single case. If everyone had the wealth and power of whatever these countries and sense as well, they would unhesitatingly spend all of it to win that single case. The case is this: relying on the thousands of promises and pledges. Relying on the thousands of promises and pledges of the universe's owner, who has disposal over it, hundreds of thousands of the most eminent of mankind, and uncounted numbers of its stars and guides. And uncounted numbers of its stars and guides have unanimously given news. And some of them have actually seen that for everyone the case has opened by which they may either win in return for belief or lose eternal properties as broad as the earth, set with palaces and gardens. If they do not secure the document of belief, they will lose. And this age, many are losing the case because of the plague of materialism. One of the diviners of reality and investigators of truth observed in one place that out of 40 people who died, only a few won. Observed in one place that out of 40 people who died, only a few won, the others lost. Can anything take the place of that lost suit? Even rule over the whole world? It's a good question. Can anything take the place of that lost battle or suit? Even rule over the whole world? Since we Risala Nur students know it would be pure lunacy to give up the duties which will win the case and abandon the wondrous lawyer who saves 90% from losing it, and the task which the lawyer employs us in and becomes involved with peripheral trivia. Wait, I'm not following this. It would be pure lunacy to give up the duties which will win the case and abandon the wondrous lawyer. Who's that wondrous lawyer? Who saves 90% from losing it, and the task which the lawyer employs us in, and become involved with peripheral trivia, as though we were going to remain in the world forever. Okay. Peripheral trivia as though we were going to remain in the world forever. So all these trivial matters that could take our attention away from our real purpose in existence. Okay, we can talk on that a little more. We are certain that if each of us had an intelligence 100 times greater than that we have, we still would use it only on this task. Maybe can I stop here and then we can just discuss what's going on so far? I mean, we all know this. Everybody says that time is valuable. is a practical matter, but from our existential point of view, I think we need a little more focus on this. So would anybody care to chime in their thoughts on this in terms of, yeah, okay, how do we take it from this practicality, but to really incorporate this and be serious about this? Because there are a lot of things that occupies human beings in their circles, their relatives, friends, events that go on. Right now, there's everything. Inflation is a big topic in people's minds. COVID is a big topic that occupies people every time there's a new variant or that comes in. So how do we take all this into account and continue for our main purpose in existence? So yeah, go ahead, please share your thoughts.
I think we can finish the fourth topic and then go back from the beginning to discuss it. I think it is a serious matter, and there is lots of confusions about the content of this matter. So we may really spend some time on it, discussing maybe paragraph by paragraph. But let's finish it because the rest doesn't really have any theoretical knowledge.
Okay, so you want me to continue, right? Mm-hmm. So my new brothers here in this calamity of prison, you have seen the Risale Nur the same as my old brothers who entered here together with me, citing them and thousands of students like them as witnesses. I say I prove and have proved that it is the Risale Nur that wins that supreme case for 90 people out of 100, obtains for them certain verified belief, which is the document and warrant that has won the case for 20,000 people in 20 years. It has proceeded from the miraculousness. So this teachings of the Risale Nur has proceeded from the miraculousness of the all-wise Quran and is the leading lawyer at this time. So it makes the case for human beings to get them on the right path. Although these 18 years, my enemies and the atheists and materialists have duped some members of the government with their exceedingly cruel plots against me, and have had us sent to prison to have us done away with in the past as now. Sorry, I think I lost it. Although those 18 years, my enemies and the atheists and materialists have duped some members of the government with their exceedingly cruel plots against me, and have had us sent to prison to have us done away with. In the past as now, they have been able to cause harm to only 2 or 3 of the 130 pieces of equipment in the steel fortress of the Risale Nur. I don't understand this one. So in the past as now, they have been able to cause harm to only 2 or 3. Okay, they have been able to cause harm to only 2 or 3 of the 130 pieces of equipment in the steel fortress of the Risale Nur. Okay, so basically, whatever the Risale Nur is teaching is what has to be taken seriously, beneficial, and whoever is challenging it in the past or who is not following it basically will suffer. So in the past as now, they have been able to cause harm to only 2 or 3 of the 130 pieces of equipment. I don't know, maybe they've been physically in his time, they've maybe burnt or destroyed some of his whatever writings or whatever he was doing. So I guess we'll talk on that, but that's not important, I think. That means to obtain it is sufficient for those who want to engage a lawyer. Also fear not, the Risale-i-Nur cannot be banned. With the exception of 2 or 3, its treatises are circulating freely among the deputies among the deputies. Yeah, with the exception of 2 or 3 seats are circulating freely among the deputies serving the government of the Republic and its leaders. Circulating freely among the deputies serving the government of the Republic and its leaders. God willing, at some time, happy governors and guards will distribute those lights to the prisoners like bread and medicine, and so make the prisons into truly effective places of reform. Okay.
The last paragraph is something to do with this or historical context of writing this text, so, and also political conditions of that time. So we may not be concerned with it much, but we have to come to the very serious subject mentioned on the first paragraph, and the first paragraph is this really. Yeah, you can just summarize it if you like, if you can, and then what is the message here in the first paragraph?
So according to the author, and I think we can observe that in our day and age also right now, what's going on with a lot of events are happening in our lives, and we tend to it takes our attention in those events. Basically, we kind of worry about them. We want to know what's going on. When is this going to end? For example, when is COVID going to end? Or so, and World War is a big major event. So at his time, that was the major event. But now we have so many other distractions that take us away that may not be necessarily essential to our life. Definitely. So that's why, and then many, even the religious and learned persons who know that it's wrong to do something or it's not worth it, they can't change the world. They can't change the president, although with their vote, they can have an impact, but whatever their policies are, they cannot change those things. So, and then they're moving away from their truth and reality, and basically mosque as a symbol of worshiping the true owner of this universe, the Lord of the universe. So the time is kind of taken away, and the alternative is given more, given more attention to. So listening to the radio or getting involved in finding out more about what's going on and just worrying about those matters. And he says this is harmful, and I can understand that, how it's harmful, but again, maybe I hope I can hear from you, or Farah, go ahead.
There are two points that I found, getting my attention in this. One is that the emphasis that regardless of what is happening in our lives or in the global life, and he talks about the several spheres from, let's say, the global ones to our families, and ultimately the innermost sphere is that concerns one's existence, one's sense of being and understanding of themselves. And I guess it's from this inner sphere that you look, you get connected to everything else. And it seems that what I hear him to say is that regardless of what is happening around in these spheres that are outside or these larger spheres, there is this one aspect of it that remains constant regardless of the actual type of event it is, whether it's a war or pandemic or whatnot. And that innermost sphere that this individual has control over or is his responsibility, it's the responsibility of this aspect of one to look towards that thing that does not change in all of this. And I don't think he would say to not care about the world events or anything that's happening outside, but rather to care about it in a way that addresses the constant aspects of it, which to us would mean that they all have the same source of existence. What is the nature of the source of existence? What does this tell us about looking to all those eternal, constant, unchanging attributes of those experiences? But and the second point that I think the essential point I wanted to make there was to look at these events from an eye that looks towards the eternal meaning present in it and the constant meaning present in it, rather than the aspects that seem to be constantly changing and sort of in other words, out of your control also by definition. And the other aspect that I got from this was that if one were not to look at this eternal aspect of these events or meaning behind these events, then there's a risk of becoming involved in it in a way that compromises or hurts your abilities. Like, for example, in the case of, let's say, take a war, the warring between two countries is most often, for the individual benefit of each country. There's no sort of objective truth that one country will claim over the other, but you will have allegiances because of your ties or some other assessment. And so if one were to get too embroiled in the matters as they are presented to us, there's a risk of taking on a side that will inevitably have some sort of weakness or bias, and that will inadvertently affect your qualities of it. So, for example, I guess in this ongoing issue of the pandemic, or whether to vaccinate or not to vaccinate, if I do not sort of attach myself to the eternal message and meaning that is essentially not originating, but I, as the innermost sphere, am the locus or the perspective with which I look towards. If I don't look towards it from a sense of, okay, what is the eternal and constant message for me about myself and existence in these events, then I am at the risk of following a worldview that has some sort of biases or weaknesses. And in turn, I guess it takes away from a perspective that I would associate with, I guess, objectiveness as being true or being unbiased. So I guess the danger is that you can fall into looking at matters or engaging with matters from a biased point of view if you don't look at them from from seeing this as a message of the creator. I know I struggled in explaining this, but I hope it was somewhat communicated.
I can, let me see. How long is today's session? Feriha says. Excuse me, what do you mean? How long is this? Very hard. What do you mean if you can just, today's session is something like what time will it end? And normally we end 4 o'clock, but we started because I mistakenly signed in another place. So in another Zoom link. So maybe 4:10, 4:15, something like that, because we started 15 minutes late, 10 to 15 minutes late. Oh, thank you. Now, Farah touched upon the heart of the matter, actually. Practically speaking, we human beings think that if we are involved in world affairs, it means our concern encompasses 6-7 billion people. I'm a great man. That's what I feel it. That's why people get their newspapers, or nowadays not newspapers, but when this text was written, it was newspaper and radio, nothing more. So nowadays it go online and all the messages and TV programs and videos about what is going on in somewhere, or maybe also Muslim countries. What can you do about it? Yeah, there is a war or there is a conflict, and there is nowadays this angel visiting us. Okay, coming and reminding us that you can anytime die. That's my reality. Thanks for reminding me my reality. I'm very happy that you come here. So I call them death angels, reminding us that our life is ever fragile. Okay, they are welcome. But at the same time, my responsibility is to defend. Okay, I can defend myself. This is my responsibility, I understand. How about dealing all my life concerned with this stuff? And also how many people died? When some of them were ill, some of them were taken medicine, but just to get the general information and finished. But what is important, as Farah also mentioned, if we don't have the right criterion within ourselves, what is the difference between right and wrong, what we fall in partisanship, following what we and how we identify ourselves, maybe Turkish, Arabs, or Egyptians, or I don't know, Syrians or Iranian, maybe Pakistani, etc. And we are pro-Pakistan. We don't see whether it's right or wrong. We don't understand because we have no criteria. We spend huge amount of money on it, time on it, sorry. Can they listen to you at all, any politicians? Never. They can continue their own tricks, politics or maneuvers, strategies. Do you know really exactly what's going on behind the screen? Never. Can you change the situation? Never. But we keep gossiping about it with no criteria in our hand. That is why we have to concentrate on our main responsibility. It is very well described in the tradition of the Muslim society. They say, which is also comes from the hadith narrations, the first thing we will be asked when we die, everybody knows it, and is coming from Muslim background, the question will be directed to us, Men Rabbuke. not Rabbukum, not Rabbuhum. What does it mean? What is your personal individual man? Who did you accept as your Lord? And your criteria will be the criteria of your Lord. Did you know who your Lord is really? By just saying, God is my Lord, Rabbunallahu, that is the name, everybody use God, the name in the word. But is it really as the Quran described who Lord is? Do you really realize who this Lord is, so that you will have his criterion for your concern? For example, national concern. What happened in Turkey, as I was born in Turkey? What happened in Turkey? Why? Because, I was born in Turkey. Who is Turkey? What is Turkey? It's a national state described by these people, not necessarily that it is based on religion at all, has nothing to do with religion. Pakistan is the same. Egypt is the same. This is national states, not religiously identified states, first of all. And secondly, even if I know what is going on there, what can I do? How much I can have an effect? If you spend all of your life in following the party prior to elections, party rallies, at the end, you will have only one vote. And you can ask an expert on the subject that you trust, which one is the better for me, for my belief, and he's the expert. You are not the expert. Why do you spend your time on it? But you know what happened in Bangladesh? And yeah, did you hear that something happened in Bangladesh and the people need money or help? Okay, send money. Why do you go into details? What are you going to do? How many people died? What are you going to do? Are you a statistics man or what? 500 people or one person? Does it matter? Somebody needs it and they are asking you for your help. Send your money and forget about it. But the first thing what I understand is that the first concern, I must have my own criterion so that I will use this criterion to decide what is right and what is wrong. Of course, as the text says here, this one here, sometimes the one following curiously the struggles of the war or anything happening in the world globally or partially, but in a larger scale, to earnestly support one side. He looks favorably on their trinity and become as partner in it. What does it mean? There is a clear saying of the Prophet ﷺ. He says, if you give consent to trinity, transgression, you will be as if doing that one. For example, in the war case, if you say, that's going back to the subject of the text in its own time period, the Germans are friends of my country. Yeah. So if they hit, for example, Russians or British army, They say, yeah, it is right. It means they killed 1,000 people, at that time, millions of people they killed, by the way, the Germans. I say, because it is the friend of my country, he killed million people, it is justifiable. My heart goes this way, because I have no criterion, right or wrong. Innocent people are killed, not only the soldiers. Soldiers are innocent as well. Do you think the soldiers know what they are doing? No. They are just told by the commanders, and they have to do it, otherwise they will get the shot. so, so because of the position, desperate position, they have to follow the command. They don't know what they are doing. They are innocent as well. If you kill them, they are innocent. You are killing the innocent people. And you are saying 1 million people are killed, and it was good that our partners in national relationship are going to win the war. But do you know that there are many unjustifiable killings going on in the war, because it is just generally declared war? And also, do you have the right to kill people because they oppose your political power? No. So you will get the sin of committing 1 million innocent people just because you are supporting it from your heart. This is very dangerous. So we understand that, as the text says, we have to have our priorities. First, as it says here, sphere of the man, so here. From the sphere of the heart, and starts from sphere of the heart. First of all, my heart needs to get to know who my owner, who my Lord is. I just say God, but it doesn't mean I really relate to God in every event. For example, when I am concerned with any event happening in Turkey, for example, am I really aware that this event is created by God there for a purpose? He never creates anything without any wisdom, without any mercy. That God is creating something there in order to give them the opportunity to wake up, to do something for themselves, in order to really do what their main concern is. Are we aware of it really? No, because it is my nation. What shall I do? Even if I am learning everything in details, who cares my knowledge? How can I change the situation being in America? Nothing. It is just waste of time. So I have to, if I hear that there are some people who need of help, and if I can contribute something, send them some help. That's it. That's what you can do. That's your concern. I think we don't have the criterion what the interest area should be. First of all, we all know.
What's that hadith you mentioned about the intentionality support one party, and you are liable for that?
Yeah. Supporting it from your heart. Now, rida, it means you are happy or not happy really. Rida, الظلم كأنه, I don't original words, I don't remember. Whoever gives consent, literal translation is this, but literal translation. Whoever gives consent to a tyranny or anything wrongdoing, as if he has done it. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yeah. But do we know, for example, partisanship? Partisanship. Do we know what is going on? Let's talk about American case. We are here. What is going on behind reducing everything to only two parties? And these parties, maybe one of them is better than the other according to your criteria, but what is going on behind their policies? What do they say really true? Why do you keep listening to them? Because you know that they are all tricks. Party politics, they have to appeal people's feelings. Although the founders of America and all the party leaders of America, they became, most of them, not all of them maybe, I don't know, most of them have nothing to do with religion, but during the campaigns, they all appear to religion and they all really exploit religious feelings. We know that they are all tricks, and also we know that behind their party politics, always there are other powers. We don't know, but we know that they are doing it according to the expectations of their financial supporters. But we don't know. So why am I doing and spending any minute on listening these party leaders, which are most stupid puppets? Why should I spend any time on it? But in general, look, this is the only thing I cannot change American politics, but I can only use my, if I am allowed to give the vote, so use my vote, okay, ask an expert that you trust. Which one is the better for us, for me, for my belief, for my religion? Which one is the best? No, not the best, really, better than the other one. Both of them are evils, but it is called ehwan sharrain. It means the better of the two evils. We have to know that. So learn from the expert. You are not expert. You don't know the politics. Why do you spend time on it? It is not your profession. So ask an expert, what do you think is the best of evil, the better of evils among these groups? He will say, I think this is the one. Okay, expert, we take the advice of the expert. I should never, ever spend any time on it because I have no effect on it. I will have nothing. Only at the end, I will use my one single vote. That's it. That is what it says. It's a very interesting description of this concentric circles. First, my heart looks eternity. My heart looks absolute Lord. And then my stomach. And then my home, my body. And then the neighborhood, what's going on here. Then town, country, and then globe and whole universe. Yeah, all mankind and universe. Where am I more effective? Can I change the order of the universe? Never. Okay. Can I change the climate of the earth? Never. Okay. Can I change the whole humanity, Chinese government, American government, Russian government, I don't know, Egyptian government? Can I change them? Never. I have no effect on them. What am I going to do with learning about their situations? What am I going to do with it? If I have the right criterion, knowing exactly, let's talk it in Muslim terms, Islamic terms, knowing exactly how the Quran teaches and educates me, then I will be looking at the universe with belief perspective and seeing that what a wonderful creation it is. If I see, for example, picture of some galaxies, I will say Subhanallah, because I would use my own criterion to get or to establish a relationship between me and this picture of the universe, representing how the universe is functioning or happening or existing out there. And then come to the human beings in general. Yes, they are, they have their own way of life. No one listens to me. Maybe somebody in my neighborhood, maybe among my members of the family, if I am nice and kind, respectful, generous to them, they may listen to you. Huh? Can you have an effect on them? Maybe, yeah, likely. Speaking to them, inviting them, being kind to them. Yeah, that is coming now. How about your stomach? Yeah, you need to eat something. Take care of it because you are effective there. The circle, the narrower the circle becomes, the effect of my interaction grows. That's what it says in reverse. Where was it? I cannot see it down here on the screen. The relationship is the just reverse relationship. There is a word for it, but I don't remember now what it is. I mean, this circle comes smaller, my effect on this area becomes greater. So the most powerful effect I can have is on my own heart, my personal heart. I can make a decision and apply it. But as far as the relationship with the larger circles, my effect becomes to nil, zero. So we have to take this serious matter into consideration and have a life principle, really. Pay attention, spend time, be concerned. That's we have to have. That is my advice to myself. As much as your effect has as much as you can have an effect on it. Can you effect on what is going on in the world? Nothing. But you can have an effect on what you are doing in your family household, what you are doing in your own feelings, in your own knowledge, in your own iman, belief, in your own relationship with your God. It is almost 100% you can make an effective decisions on it. Why do you spend your energy on somewhere that you cannot, or only 0.00001 effect? Why do we waste our time? As the text says, life's capital is very little. Now, if you just do something while you are young, that is worth doing it. After coming to my age, I cannot remember, I cannot memorize, I cannot learn as fast, I cannot really be active as much as I used to be when I was young. All my effectiveness of my life is getting smaller, diminishing. Now, the more effective it means during your life, youth, make most of it. Otherwise, you will be very sorry as I am now. Very sorry as I am now. You will understand the seriousness of this, the life's capital. It means my life. It is the main thing here in this world. I have to take care of it. It means while I am alive, I have to take care of my personal responsibilities, the most central interest, the focus of interest I should have on my heart's needs. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to say anything? Okay, then I guess. Yeah, who's on the phone, please? Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry, I can't raise my hand, but I just wanted to add small thoughts. I think it is an important matter in terms of like psychological issues also that many a times we might face, we might see friends and family go through, is that a lot of the times a sense of despair is a big cause of emotional issues and other issues in one's life, and the general advice in those times is also to focus on the aspect of yourself that you can control. And in this particular conversation, I think it is very powerful to think about it in terms of belief, because that is really the innermost aspect of one's life. Whereas this advice can also, mean to people like, oh, just control your perspective, do something for yourselves. But the essence of the matter lies in the belief element of an individual. The other point that comes to mind is that, for example, in our particular lives, we have this pandemic. In our personal lives, we have other issues. Then after a year, there'll be something else. Every year, there's some other political issue. So there's no variety of the type of serious issues that come to our life. And so it is, it feels mathematically futile too, that you will come up with a unique and good solution every time an issue comes up, because there is a constant variety and variation in the types of issues. So it makes sense that there should be one solution for everything, because otherwise you will drive yourself crazy trying to find a good solution every time. So I think from that perspective also, it diverts our attention to look for that one solution to everything, and that one certain, sort of robust solution to everything, rather than thinking of the problem every time. So thinking about them as like the same issue in different colors is, I find it like helpful to sort of condense, the experience this way. Perhaps one element to this is, which the author doesn't discuss here, but gets implied, is in some way also practical in terms of our more closer relationships, in terms of families or friends. There is some element of this rule that I think applies there too, even though those spheres are where we find ourselves to be theoretically most effective. But even in those spheres, this lesson is still valuable, which is that you still can't fix or change someone else's life or problems. There's still a limit there, but definitely you are more effective than you might be on a global or national level. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yes, thank you. In addition, very briefly, in addition, even if you want to be concerned with your family members, you can be or very close, apart from your own heart, or after being busy with your heart, going and trying to, for example, convey your conclusions with the others. You can do that as much as you yourself are aware of it. That is why in yourself, you have to work most so that your criterion will be sharper and more correct, so that your other concerns will be on the right track. Otherwise, you will be concerned with others If your heart is not put on the right track, you will follow a false understanding and saying that I am very much busy with my Muslim brothers all over the world. But Muslim brothers are suffering from the lack of Iman. No one really pays attention to it because the value of Iman, the most essential teachings of the Quran, most essential concerns of this people, this human being, is how we see our Creator and which kind of relationship we have with this Creator. Everybody runs for material support. Almost no one really, I mean, very few, rare exceptions. No one really is concerned with the belief is shaken by as this materialist ideologies, world-centered concerns everywhere is under the influence of worldliness, forgetting about the akhirah. That is why, because people are under the influence of this materialistic worldview everywhere. Muslim words are not exception from it. So we must be concerned with the belief of the system, but we can do this only as much as we are aware of it. No more. Impossible. We are not aware of it. How can I realize what is going on in the world? How can I really help them if I cannot have it? I mean, can you send money if you don't have any money? You can send money as much as you have. That is so real. Inshallah, we have to concentrate on our first, the sphere of heart, inshallah, first. And then the others will be accordingly, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you, Alhamdulillah, inshallah. Busy with our heart, our closest sphere. Okay, so inshallah, we'll continue next time with the fifth topic. Thank you, everyone. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka anta alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.